So Vikram, you want to discuss the stuff from the debate at Valley Tamed?
So last time we talked, you said you disagreed with Destiny on like Andrew Tate stuff.
Yeah, there's two disagreements I have with Destiny from that Valley Tamed episode. The first one is kind of the more minor one.
Hmm.
Destiny's take that college is generally a good investment for the majority of people. Mine is that it's only good for pursuing certain careers. And the second one probably is whether Andrew Tate is a net positive or net negative in terms of the messages he sends. So Destiny says he's a net negative. I would argue he's a net positive. Yeah, so here would be my, I guess, opening statement. I would say that, Andrew Tate he never he's not putting out there that's new. He never he's not pushing out anything that's like revolutionary or something that's not around in the manosphere. But because he's very charismatic, he's able to reach a whole bunch of people who previously did not know about men's self-improvement and manosphere. And generally, the message is pretty good. It's like, hey, you want to level up as a man. It's not easy out there, so you want to go to the gym. You want to get your finances in order. You want to be financially independent, right? So you're not relying on anyone. You want to be a leader. You want to protect, the girl you're with, right? So it's all these things that are generally a good message. So if you ignore like some of the crazier things he says, which is a lot of it is just hyperbole, and you just focus on like the core messages that he preaches over and over again, it's generally good stuff. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that I'm on board with his little human trafficking whatever thing that he had going on allegedly. But yeah, I think overall the core messages are good.
Yeah, and I would say that like if your core message has a lot of overlap in like some of the horrible shit you say, then I think it just works against it too much. It's hard to say that's a net good. So like if Andrew Tate was out here and he was also a flat earther, I mean, it's not like he's popular for being like a scientist, so I probably wouldn't care as much. I'd still think that's bad. He shouldn't contribute to flat earth bullshit, but like at least that's not what he's known for. But if he's known for takes on like men and women in the Matrix and relationships and all that shit, and he's also like a human trafficker and he speaks like really poorly of the women that he is accused of trafficking and everything, probably not. I think that there's too much overlap there in terms of like what he's known for and the really negative messages that he proliferates.
Okay, let me pose the question like this. You're somewhat familiar with me. Do you think that most of my content is like a good thing? Like, do you think I'm a net positive?
Um, I'll cautiously say yes, but I haven't like consumed a lot of your content. You might see some wild shit when I'm not watching. I don't know, but I think so.
Yeah, I think you're generally on board with the messages that preachers against, like leveling up as a man, becoming a better communicator,
Mhm.
learning game, learning to understand women better. Right? I think we kind of agree on that. Would your perspective change if you found out that, for example, in my personal life, I don't know, I'm really, let's just say like I just go from one bad relationship to another, right? So I've never been in a successful relationship. I just oscillate between one destructive relationship to another. However, that doesn't change my message. So
Mhm.
would the fact that my personal actions that I'm not successful in my personal life affect my message?
Nope.
Okay, so yeah, so then I don't see why the fact that Andrew Tate is
Well, because
allegedly
there's a
accused
difference between
of
having problems in your personal life versus preaching what you're doing in your personal life. Now, if you were to say, let's say you had problems in all of your relationships because you hit women all the time, and you think that like if a woman speaks back to you, you should punch the shit out of her. But then you were also to give all of your relationship takes, I'd say, yeah, that's probably not good. I wouldn't think that's good. But the
well,
difference is Andrew Tate
Well,
is like very vocally talking about how to abuse the system. He's bragging about how he scammed men for a long time. He's bragging about how he flew women across the world, and he brags about how he steals taxes from them. All of that kind of lines up in terms of like how he views the world and relationships and women in the Matrix. Like it's all kind of like jumbled together. There is no Andrew Tate fan that can separate one from the other. I don't believe it. I don't think that's going to happen. And I think that's been proven to me as I've argued with a lot of these people who are now arguing that like sex trafficking is like not a big deal because like, well, if the women weren't forced with a gun, it was probably okay. Like I don't think that I don't think that there are going to be Andrew Tate fans that are going to separate that messaging there. Again, if Andrew
well, I
Tate's
was
like controversial stuff was like, oh, I'm a flat earther, I'm sure there are a lot of people that go like, oh, his takes on relationships and shit are like really cool, but like the flat earth shit is kind of cringe. But like all of his other takes are right up his alley of diagnosing problems with the Matrix.
Yeah, so you said there's no really Andrew Tate fans who can separate those two. I would be an example of an Andrew Tate fan who can absolutely separate those two things, right? I made nuanced videos where I say, hey, this is good, this is bad, this is kind of neutral, blah blah blah. In my community, there's a lot of them, right? There's a lot of guys who are like, hey, we like this, and this, but we don't like this, and we think human trafficking is obviously like really messed up, and there's no way it could be acceptable, right? So
Sure,
I'll
okay,
be
I'm sorry, hold
accountable.
on. I'll reframe that because I can never speak in hyperbole anymore, apparently. There's probably going to be some that can do it, but the vast majority, like 90% plus of Andrew Tate fans, are either going to defend the trafficking or they're no longer going to be fans of Andrew Tate, right? Like, there's just no way that in your mind you can hold those two things. Like if I give a bunch of relationship advice, and I think that most of the advice I give, most of it is pretty basic. I don't really say too many controversial things here. But if it came out that I was like a serial rapist, like nobody's gonna say like Destiny is really, the guy that got accused of raping like 7 women. Yeah, but like, okay, but ignore like the rape shit. His advice is actually really good. Nobody's gonna say that. Nobody's gonna feel that way. And the only people that will be left are gonna be people that defend me raping women, or that's it. Those are the only people that are gonna be left. Everybody else is gonna leave.
Do you really feel like most people are incapable of like nuanced like opinions?
Absolutely, yes.
Interesting. Maybe we're just in two totally different communities. Like maybe in your community that's like a lot more common. I feel like in my community, like I feel like most of the people, of course I do have some of the cringy Andrew Tate fanboys who are like trying to do exactly what you're describing, but the majority of people, when I have like, Andrew Tate discussions, the majority of people are kind of like me, where they're capable of the nuance. They're able to separate like the good from the bad. So I don't know. I don't know if we're going to come into agreement on that, because we might just have two totally different experiences.
I don't believe any large community is capable of that. Like I've seen over the COVID shit, I've seen doctors fall prey to groupthink. I've seen like lawyers have issues with this. Like I have issues. Every content creator, like I think tons of people have issues with exactly this. I don't think there's any, especially not a community full of people that are capable of like super nuanced, instructive, like, oh yeah, I can definitely tell, like separate out the problematic aspects of this person. Like I think that that's an incredibly rare quality in a person, in an individual. In a group, I don't think that's to be found anywhere. But I mean, that just might be differences in perspective. But
yeah, it could be different perspective. Yeah, because I would say that, like, again, I've debated against like Andrew Tate, fans and whatever, people who hate him, and it's almost always just like, hey, listen, if he's guilty of this shit, then that is a horrible thing, and we're going to denounce him. It's like, hey, listen, I haven't had any person who's like trying to justify human trafficking. Like everyone's like, hey, this is bad. Like this is obviously there's no way to defend that, but we just don't know if he's guilty yet, so we want to wait for the information. That's kind of the perspective I've been hearing over and over again.
Okay, well.
But going back to some of the things you said, when did he say that? When was he bragging about scamming men? I just haven't heard that clip.
He gives like a little thing on, I don't know what podcast he was on, it might have been some bongers, but he's basically talking about how he would get men like hooked to these girls. He would get the girls to tell all these lies about going to the embassy, take pictures there to get these men to send them money to travel, and then he'd make the girl continually make up excuses, saying like, oh, I'm sick, I got a headache, I couldn't go. Then the guys would get really upset. Then he would tell the girls to say like, oh, now you're scaring me because like you're being so mean, and they would never show up, and then the guys would come back and they'd keep giving them money over and over again like that type of scam. He would talk about running that over and over again.
Here's where the famoose would start. So it'd be good, like I had a lot of girls who worked for me, and the best was like the Ukrainians or the Russians. It was amazing. Because they'd get some guy, fall in love, they'd arrange today to meet, all this shit, I need a visa. Okay, get a visa. I need money for a visa. Okay, how much is a visa? It's $900. No, but it's not $900 because I went to the embassy. They think I'm a risk, and I need a return flight there and back, and I need a hotel, and I need to have spending money in my bank account. They won't let me come. Or how much you need? All right, 10 grand. Boom, it's 10 G's. Boom, thanks.
Wow.
Go to the embassy, take a picture outside the embassy, boom, come back. They rejected my visa. They said we have to wait 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, they'll give it to me. Okay, baby, boom. 2 more weeks of tips. Boom, 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 boom. Because now he thinks he's gonna right? Thinks we get the girls. Now he's spending more than ever. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. 2 weeks come. Some other problem. Whether it's visa, whatever. We make up some bullshit, right?
All these OnlyFans chicks can learn from you, man.
Oh, man,
no,
bro,
but you know, like a free
people watch
free OnlyFans tutorial.
Yeah,
here in the DMs.
people would say, why did those girls work for you? Because the girls would work for me, and at 50%, because it was 50-50, would make millions per month. If they worked for themselves, they'd make nothing. I was the best in the fucking game. What? Me, and I had a whole team of staff.
Yeah,
the girl would only work 6 or 7 hours a day online.
So how did it end?
Bro, the story's just begun.
Oh,
you want me to tell you? I can shut up if you want.
Wait, you could have double dipped and started a coaching to coach these guys too, right?
I could have, but give off for free because I'm rich already. But so the girl would be online for 6 or 7 hours, but then when she logged off, was sleeping or whatever, on her WhatsApp, I'd have staff. She was online 24 hours a day. Her WhatsApp, her this. She was famoosing when she was asleep. We were bringing in money from the sky. We were promising all these meetings, all these pictures outside of embassies, all this shit. Eventually, the girl, what she would do is she'd say, oh, I don't want to go embassy. She'd give a really lame excuse to try and provoke the man to get angry. So she'd say, the embassy want me to come back, but I have a headache. That was the one we'd use. He'd be like, I just sent you $1 million. You promised you were going to come. You said you had to delay. Now you're saying you have a headache and you won't go to your appointment. To make him mad on purpose, because that would annoy any man. And then, that's what we needed. We needed a little trigger. And we go, why are you being aggressive? I'm not being aggressive, but you're not serious, da-da-da. And then we'd say, but you know what? I really like you, and I'm flying to the other side of the world by myself, and now you're being aggressive, and now I'm intimidated. And we'd flip it on him, saying, well, now you're being scary. No, I'm not being scary, but you know, it's your appointment. You're supposed to go, yeah, but I feel sick and you don't even care. Female bullshit. Female bullshit. And flip it on him.
Oh
Flip it on him. And he'd get furious because we were really good at
playing sides.
Poking him to the point where he'd go like, you're a scammer. You scam me. Get really mad. I can't believe you think I was a scammer. I was going to come. I went to the embassy. You're a liar. Every man in my life has only lied to me. I thought you...
So he's a scammer. Yeah, even the cam business he ran wasn't legit. Even if he did traffic the girls, even past traffic the girls, he didn't run a legit business. He was still scamming with trafficked women.
You were different. Big beef. Big argument.
Yep.
Big argument. But here's the thing. The guy would get pissed off, right, and leave. Stop tipping her. Stop coming to her. But for these men, that's the only chick in the world, the only hot chick in the world who talks to him. Maybe it takes a week, maybe it takes 2 weeks, maybe it takes 3 weeks. He's in bed at night, alone, jerking off, looking at her old videos and pictures, watching her stream again from another account so she can't see it's him, sitting there going, maybe she was going to come. Maybe I just got too mad when she had a headache. Maybe I should have been a little bit more patient and she would have been my girlfriend. And 100% of the time, in less than 3 months, with an apology, a brand new pile of money, and the cycle would repeat. We killed the game. Millions of dollars a week. And it was not just because I had beautiful girls. It's not because webcam is easy. It's because I am a genius. And I put together an apparatus of genius behind the avatar of beauty. And we conquered the internet.
He's just a scammer. I mean, like, I guess it's impressive, but like, yeah, it's just, all of it is just scamming on scamming on scamming on scamming. Like, that's all it is. Like, now I just see the story of how he, like, defrauded his taxes and then, like, doubled his deposits at the bank by scamming the bank, too. Like, that's all it is. Like, it's insane.
Okay, I'll just take your word for that one. Do you think that someone is capable of changing as a human being? Like, meaning someone could be, like, a fucking piece of shit drain? Yeah, and then they become, right. So... I think the stuff you're referring to is Andrew Tate's older stuff, right? Where he was like focusing on the webcam shit. Well, in the last like 4 years, though, I feel like that's kind of, or maybe the last 2 years, like he's kind of like deleted that. He's moved on from that, and now he's focusing more on Hustlers University. So could you make the argument that maybe his overall effect used to be bad, but now that he's changed his message, he doesn't talk about the webcam shit, then now it's not like as bad, or it's potentially good?
No, he made his living and all of his millions being a scam artist. Like, why the would I give him credit now for starting a self-help shit when he's not even in a position to give that advice, right? He's like a telemarketer scam giving people advice on how to be successful. He doesn't know anything about success. All he knows is how to scam people and how to cheat the government and defraud women, right? Which he admits, all of those things he's admitted doing multiple times across multiple videos. So why would I say this guy can now come? That'd be like Bernie Madoff coming out and giving like stock tips or something, or like telling you how to like ethically run a business. Like, there's just nothing there of value.
Well, I don't think you I'm not asking you to like redeem him as a person. I'm just focusing purely on the message. I agree with you that in terms of some of the things he's done, it's really, really shitty, like admitting that he was stealing money from girls. There's no way anyone could like rectify that in the minds.
I mean,
like,
if he had denounced his past actions or made like a big statement about it, then maybe sure. But like, he's never done that. He doesn't think anything he did was wrong. Do you think in your heart of hearts that he thinks that he did wrong with all that webcam shit and the scamming shit and everything?
No, of course not. He's way too much of a narcissist.
Sure, it's not like...
Yeah, but I'm talking about something different. I'm talking about throwing the baby out with the bathwater, right? So, because what I've seen is like, oh, like Andrew Tate is a human trafficker, so now like all the stuff he was spreading was misogyny. But just like when I look at the core tenets of what he was preaching over and over again, I just see a lot of like basic manosphere self-improvement. So I'm just like really weary of just throwing all of that out and putting it as like, oh, this is just human trafficking 101, right? This is because a lot of it is,
all you can do is adopt the message and either spread it yourself or find it in other people, right? Like, it might be the case that Hitler has like some good ideas about like running countries and shit, but I'm not going to recommend Mein Kampf to a bunch of impressionable teenagers because there's a whole bunch of other things that Hitler stood for that I don't agree with. And it's going to be the exact same thing with Andrew Tate. Like, there might be some basic like decent advice that he gives. He doesn't say anything new. He doesn't say anything like that's unique. Like, all of these have been said over and over again. Why the fuck would I give somebody that problematic to a highly influential young teenage male who's looking for guidance and character to like lead his life? Like, I'm not gonna have them looking up to fucking Andrew Tate, a scam artist that got wealthy and is now trying to be like a social media mogul. Like, no.
Yeah, I think I see your point with the Mein Kampf thing. I think though that like if I was recommending Andrew Tate to someone, like someone very impressionable came to me and said, hey, I learned about this Andrew Tate guy. I'm not really sure what to think, like I really trust you. can you give me your perspective on his message? I'd say, well, listen, like this, you know, going to the gym stuff, becoming financially responsible, going through hardships, this is all really good stuff. I agree with you. It's nothing new. This has been talked around for a while. But I think what is unique is the fact he's been able to reach a whole bunch of people who are not in the men's self-improvement community. The manosphere is a very small community compared to the average person, but now you have a whole bunch of like your quote-unquote normies who are following this advice of like, okay, maybe I should start working out, maybe I should start becoming financially independent, right? Which is, I just see that as like a good thing, right? But again, I acknowledge the fact that there's been a lot of bad done. I just like am weary of throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Okay. I mean, like if the baby was like radioactive, I mean, the water's going to be radioactive too, so I would probably toss all of it and just run a new bath. But I have another talk that I scheduled really quick. I'll give you the last word, and then we can chat later if you want. I don't know if this last one will last very long, so.
Yeah, for sure, dude. We can talk about it later. No, I mean, I think that's it. We can continue the conversation another time. That's just my thoughts.
All right. I love you. I'll be back, I think, in a bit if you guys want to chat more, okay?
All right, sounds good, buddy. Have a good night.
For more awesome videos, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and click that bell for notification because you don't want to miss what we have coming next.